What if I told you that one of the most powerful leaders in the world once worked as a taxi driver to make ends meet? Or that he holds a black belt in not just one but multiple martial arts? Vladimir Putin, the enigmatic leader of Russia, has a past full of unexpected twists and secrets. In today's video, we're uncovering 10 fascinating things you didn't know about Vladimir Putin. Some of these will shock you, and others will make you question everything you thought you knew. Let's dive in. In the early 1990s, after the fall of the Soviet Union, Putin found himself in financial trouble, like many Russians. To make ends meet, he reportedly worked as an unofficial taxi driver in St. Petersburg. It's hard to imagine one of the world's most influential leaders navigating the chaotic streets to earn extra cash. But this shows how determined and resourceful he can be. Putin is not just a politician, he's a skilled martial artist. He's been practicing Judo since he was 11 years old and even co-authored a book about it. Fun fact, he's also skilled in Sambo, a Soviet martial art. How many world leaders can say they've competed on the mat? From saving a TV crew from a tiger to diving underwater to retrieve ancient artifacts, Putin's relationship with animals is legendary. He even has a dog gifted to him by Japan that responds to commands in Japanese. This might be a PR stunt, but it definitely works to shape his larger-than-life persona. While most of his public speeches are in Russian, Putin speaks fluent German and has basic English skills. During his KGB days, he was stationed in East Germany, where he perfected his German. Can you imagine a high-stakes negotiation where language itself is an advantage? Behind the tough exterior, Putin has a soft spot for classical music. He's been seen playing the piano and once sang Blueberry Hill at a charity event. Could this be a glimpse into his more human side? Putin's KGB career shaped much of his worldview. He served in East Germany for 16 years, gathering intelligence and honing the skills that would later define his leadership style. Those spy days gave him a reputation for being calculating and meticulous. Rumors about Putin's wealth are endless. Some claim he's one of the richest men in the world, with secret mansions, yachts, and more. Officially, his salary is modest, but investigative reports suggest otherwise. Is this all speculation, or is there more to the story? Putin's chess-like approach to geopolitics is no accident. Analysts often compare his strategies to those of a chess grandmaster, always thinking several moves ahead. His ability to outmaneuver opponents has kept him in power for over 2 decades. Putin reportedly sticks to a rigid daily routine. His mornings start with a workout, followed by a breakfast of quail eggs and cottage cheese. His discipline is part of what fuels his long tenure as a leader. Love him or hate him, Vladimir Putin remains one of the most influential figures of our time. His policies have shaped not just Russia, but the world stage. The big question is, how much longer will he stay in power, and what will his legacy be? Putin has shown a strong interest in Russia's Arctic region, pushing for exploration and control of its natural resources. He's even participated in expeditions, including piloting a submersible to the Arctic seabed. This ties into his strategy of securing Russia's influence in untapped territories. Sports play a major role in Putin's image. He's a big hockey fan and often participates in friendly matches. These events are carefully choreographed to portray him as a leader who is physically fit and competitive, aligning with his strongman persona. While often criticized for Russia's environmental policies, Putin has launched several initiatives to protect endangered species, including tigers, polar bears, and leopards. His involvement in these programs is part of his effort to portray himself as a protector of Russia's natural heritage. So what do you think about these lesser-known facts about Vladimir Putin? Were you surprised by any of them? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Hey everyone, get this! Did you know that Vladimir Putin has a black belt in Kyokushin karate? Yeah, it's true. It's a really tough martial art. Just goes to show you there's a lot more to Putin than meets the eye. Hey everyone, get this. Putin's got another trick up his sleeve. He's quite the painter, you know. And guess what? Some of his paintings have sold for big bucks at auctions, all for a good cause. Talk about a man with many hidden talents. Hey everyone, quick question for you. Did you know Putin can make some awesome pancakes? Seriously, the Russian president is a pretty good cook, especially when it comes to those traditional Russian pancakes called blini. And get this, Putin's also a painter, I know, right? He even sold one of his paintings to help a charity. It shows a whole different side to him, like he's got this artistic thing going on. And get this, Putin's been on underwater archaeology trips. He even dove down to the bottom of the Black Sea to check out old shipwrecks. Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into the life of Vladimir Putin. He was born on October 7th, 1952 in Leningrad, which is now called St. Petersburg. Growing up in Russia after World War II wasn't easy, but young Vladimir was tough and didn't give up easily. His mum and dad worked in factories and taught him to work hard and follow the rules from a very young age. Putin went to school number 193. He loved sports, especially judo and sambo. Even back then, he was really good at planning things out and never giving up, which you can see in his political career later on. Even though things were tough, Putin did great in school, especially in history and languages. After school, he went to Leningrad State University to study law. That's where he met Anatoly Sobchak, a professor who later became really important in St. Petersburg and helped Putin a lot in his political life. University gave Putin a good education and also showed him how politics and government worked. Putin finished university in 1975 and joined the KGB right away. That's how he started working in intelligence and for the government. His early life and what he learned really shaped the person he became, showing us that even the most powerful people started out normal. Stay tuned because we're going to learn even more interesting things about Vladimir Putin's life and career. Alright, so picture this, it's the 1990s and Russia's going through some wild times. The Soviet Union is history and the whole country's trying to figure out, well, everything. New government, new money, the whole shebang. And right in the thick of it, there's this guy, Vladimir Putin, starting to make a name for himself. See, Putin used to work for the KGB, but now he's back in his hometown, St. Petersburg. He reconnects with his old professor, Anatoly Sobchak, who just happens to be the big man in town, the mayor. And wouldn't you know it, Putin's climbing the ladder fast. He's got this knack for making deals, bringing in money from other countries and making St. Petersburg look good on the world stage. Word gets around, and by 1996, Putin's off to Moscow, working directly for President Boris Yeltsin. He's got all these important jobs, keeping things running smoothly, and Yeltsin really starts to rely on him. So much so that when things get tough in Chechnya, Putin's the guy Yeltsin puts in charge. Now Putin, he's not afraid to crack down, and people start to see him as a strong leader. Then, out of the blue, Yeltsin resigns. It's December 1999, and just like that, Putin's the acting president. A few months later, he wins the election, and that's how it all began, folks, the Putin era in Russia. But how did he do it? How did this one guy rise to the top so quickly? Well, it's a story of smart moves, knowing the right people, and understanding how to play the game. Stick around, because we're just scratching the surface of Vladimir Putin's story. Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into the life of Vladimir Putin, and trust me, it's a story you won't want to miss. Before he became the big name in Russian politics, Putin's career started somewhere completely different, the super-secret world of the KGB. Imagine that. In 1975, right after he graduated from Leningrad State University with a law degree, Putin joined the KGB. That was the Soviet Union's spy agency, known for, well, let's just say some pretty intense stuff. His first few years there were all about counterintelligence, think spy versus spy. He learned how to tail people, analyze information, and carry out secret missions. Pretty cool, right? For a big chunk of the 1980s, Putin was stationed in Dresden, East Germany. Officially, he was a translator, but his real job, to gather intel on NATO and the West. This time was super important for him. It shaped how he saw world politics and the tricky world of spying. He even saw the Berlin Wall come down with his own eyes, a huge moment that basically meant the beginning of the end for the Soviet Union. Wow. Putin was known in the KGB for being a hard worker and super loyal. He was really good at navigating the complicated world of spies and international relations. This experience prepared him for his later moves in politics. When he went back to Russia in 1990, the skills and knowledge he picked up in the KGB were really helpful in his quick rise to power. In the intelligence world, Putin learned how important secrecy, strategy, and control are. These lessons became the foundation of his political career. As we look closer at Putin's life, it's obvious that his KGB past isn't just a small detail, it's a huge part of the story of one of the most mysterious leaders of our time. So stick around, there's much more to uncover. Hey everyone, welcome back. So we just talked about Putin's secretive KGB days, right? Now let's talk about something else super important, how he controls what Russians see and hear in the news. Basically, when Putin became the big boss in Russia back in the early 2000s, he knew he needed to control the media, and that changed everything about how news works in Russia. When he became president in 2000, Putin quickly figured out how powerful TV, newspapers, and radio could be. He started taking over the big TV stations like Channel 1 and Russia 1. They became like his own personal megaphones, telling everyone what to think and making his government look good. And if a news company didn't agree with him, they were either forced to shut down or someone who liked Putin bought them. Putin also made new rules that made it really hard for reporters who weren't on his side. If a news group got money from another country, they were called a foreign agent, which made people not trust them. Because of this, reporters started being really careful about what they said because they were afraid of getting in trouble. Even the internet and places like Facebook and Twitter aren't safe. Putin's people watch everything online, saying it's for national security. Big tech companies have to keep all their information in Russia and give it to the government if they ask for it. But even with all that, some brave reporters still try to tell the real story. People donate money to them, and sometimes other countries help them out so they can keep going. They're super important because they show what's really happening, even the stuff Putin doesn't want anyone to know. So Putin's control over the news has really changed how Russians see the world. Understanding this helps us see how he stays in charge. Stick around because we're going to uncover even more about this mysterious guy, one of the most puzzling leaders in the world today. Hey everyone, welcome back. We just talked about Putin and the Russian news, right? Now let's talk about Putin and other world leaders. This is super interesting because it shows us how he thinks and what he wants for Russia. Since he became president, Putin has made friends with lots of leaders all over the world. He's really good at making deals and knowing when to take a chance. He's teamed up with countries that can help Russia, like China, India, and Iran. They work together on things like selling and buying stuff, oil and gas, and even armies. But things haven't been so easy with leaders from the US and Europe. Even though they worked together a little after 9/11, things got tense because of NATO, Crimea, and stuff about Russia messing with elections. It's weird, though, because even with all the problems, Putin still seems friendly with some of these leaders. Remember when he was always smiling with Donald Trump? Lots of people wondered what was going on there. Putin is really good at planning and knowing how countries work together. He uses Russia's oil and gas and its army to get what he wants. This helps Russia stay powerful, even when other countries don't like what they're doing. And you see pictures of Putin being friendly with other leaders, like the president of China or the Prince of Saudi Arabia. It's like he wants people to see him as a regular guy. If we want to understand Putin and his plans, we have to look at who his friends are. These friendships change things, not just for Russia, but for the whole world. Stick around, there's more to learn about Putin, and we're going to talk about it next, so don't go anywhere. Okay, so we've talked about Putin and other world leaders. Now let's talk about money, about how he runs Russia's economy. Since he became president, Putin has tried lots of different things to make Russia's economy stronger. One big thing he did was focus on what Russia has a lot of: oil and gas. He made sure the government controlled these, so the money from selling them goes straight to Russia. This has helped Russia, especially when other countries tried to punish them with sanctions or when the world economy isn't doing so well. But it's not just oil and gas. Putin also wants Russia to be good at other things. He's been trying to help farming, technology, and making stuff. He's even made special areas where it's easier for companies from other countries to come and do business. This is so Russia doesn't have to rely only on oil and gas. Another thing Putin has done is been careful with spending. Russia hasn't borrowed too much money, and they've saved a lot. This has helped them when things get tough economically. But it's not all good. Some people say Putin has too much control and it's hard for other businesses to compete. There's also a lot of talk about corruption, meaning some people close to Putin are getting richer in ways that aren't fair, and the sanctions from other countries make it hard for Russia to do business with the rest of the world. Even with these problems, Putin's plans have changed Russia's place in the world. By focusing on keeping things stable, using Russia's resources wisely and trying new things, he's kept the economy going, even when things are tough. Stick around. We're going to talk about what Putin is doing for the environment next. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so we've talked about Putin's money moves. Now let's talk about his army moves. Right from the start, Putin has wanted to make Russia's army bigger and stronger. One big thing he did was build fancy new weapons. Putin spent a lot of money on things like super-fast missiles and really good defense systems. This isn't just about protecting Russia, it's about showing off how strong they are to the whole world. Putin also got really good at computer fighting, like hacking and stuff. Russia can use computers to mess with other countries and change what happens in their elections. It's a sneaky way to get what they want without actually fighting. Putin also likes to make friends with other countries, especially if they have good locations for army bases. Think Syria and Venezuela. He even took over part of another country, Crimea, which made a lot of other countries mad. Putin also has a special super-secret soldiers. They're like ninjas. They can do secret missions and stuff, like in Syria. They're a big part of why Russia's army is so strong. But not everyone likes what Putin's doing. Some people say he's making other countries nervous, especially countries in a group called NATO, and all the money he spends on the army means less money for things like hospitals and schools. Even with all the people complaining, Putin has made Russia a really powerful country. New weapons, computer fighting, secret soldiers, and friends in other countries. It all adds up. Hang tight. We're going to talk about what Putin is doing for the environment next. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so we've talked about Putin's military plans, but what does he do when he's not, being president? Turns out he's got some interesting hobbies. First up, Judo. He's been doing it since he was a kid. And get this, he's a black belt. Judo isn't just about fighting, it's about thinking smart and being respectful. Sounds like important stuff for a leader, right? He also loves being outside. Think fishing, hiking, riding horses, real outdoorsy stuff. Russia's a big country and he likes exploring it. Imagine him fishing in a river in Siberia or hiking in the Ural Mountains. Pretty cool, huh? And he's a big sports fan. You might see him at a hockey game or maybe even swimming. He believes it's important to stay active and healthy. Makes sense. Gap 2S, here's something you might not know. Putin likes music, specifically classical music. He even plays the piano sometimes. Bet you didn't expect that. Finally, he's a bookworm. He likes history and biographies, learning about important people and events. Maybe that's where he gets some of his ideas from. So, there you have it. Putin's not just a president. He's a judo master, an outdoorsman, a sports fan, a music lover, and a reader. It's kind of interesting to see what he does in his free time. Stick around, because next up we're going to talk about what Putin is doing for the environment. Okay, so we've talked about Putin's hobbies. Now, let's talk about something else super important, how he looks to the world and how the news portrays him. Putin's image is carefully planned, both in Russia and in other countries. In Russia, the news, which is controlled by the government, often shows him as a tough, strong leader who represents what Russians believe in. You'll see pictures and videos of Putin doing tough stuff, like judo, riding horses, or even diving deep in the Black Sea. These aren't just random pictures, they're planned to make him look strong and healthy. This helps him stay popular with the Russian people. Around the world, people see Putin in different ways. Some think he's a smart and powerful leader. Others see him as someone who causes trouble, like messing with elections, doing cyber attacks, and causing problems between countries. The news and stories we hear play a big part in what we think. The Russian government uses the news to make Putin look good, even when there are problems. It's tricky because it's hard to tell what's real and what's not. So Putin is good at judo, likes being outside, and enjoys music, but he's also really good at controlling what people think of him. Stick around, because next we'll talk about what Putin is doing for the environment. Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deeper into the life of Vladimir Putin, and today we're looking at something super interesting, his impact on Russian culture. It's not just about politics, you see. Putin's influence goes way beyond that, touching everyday life in Russia. Think of it like this. Under Putin, there's been a huge comeback of national pride and a renewed interest in Russian history and traditions. From supporting the Russian Orthodox Church to bringing back old Soviet symbols, Putin's created a story that links modern Russia to its past. Now, one of the biggest changes you can see is in the arts. The government has started programs to promote Russian culture, both inside Russia and around the world. They're putting more money into places like theaters, museums, and libraries, making sure that Russian history isn't forgotten. Things like classical music, ballet, and traditional crafts are becoming popular again, and this helps create a strong sense of national identity. But that's not all. Putin also loves to support Russian sports and movies. Big events like the Sochi Olympics and the World Cup weren't just about sports. They were a way to show off Russia as a modern and exciting country. And you know, Russian movies and TV shows, especially ones about history or patriotism, get a lot of help from the government. This reflects the values Putin wants to promote. So through all these things, Putin has shaped how people see Russia, both inside and outside the country. By linking national pride with being loyal to the government, he's created a culture that supports his ideas about Russia's place in the world. Next time, we'll explore how these cultural strategies fit into his bigger plans on the world stage. Don't go anywhere. There's much more to uncover about Putin's influence. Hey everyone, welcome back. So, we're talking about Vladimir Putin, and we're really digging into what makes him tick. Now, not everyone agrees with all the choices he's made, and some of them have caused a lot of buzz, both in Russia and around the world. Let's talk about why. One thing people bring up a lot is how Putin handles people who disagree with him. Some folks say his government makes it really hard for people to speak their minds or get involved in politics if they're not on the same page as Putin. We've seen opposition leaders facing legal trouble, ending up in jail, or even worse. And then there's Alexei Navalny, a big name who opposed Putin. What happened to him, the poisoning, the arrest? It's made a lot of people really worried about how things are in Russia. And we can't forget about Crimea back in 2014. When Russia took control there, a lot of countries weren't happy about it at all. They hit Russia with sanctions and everything. See, a lot of Russians felt like Crimea belonged to them anyway, historically speaking, but out in the wider world, people saw it as breaking the rules and stirring up trouble on the world stage. Then you've got the military stuff in Syria and Ukraine. Putin says it's all about protecting Russia and fighting terrorism, but others think it's just making things worse in those places, causing more fighting and hurting innocent people. Even when it comes to money matters, Putin's decisions haven't been without their critics. Sure, some people say he's made Russia's economy stronger and lifted people out of poverty, but then others point to corruption, the gap between the rich and the poor, and the fact that Russia relies a lot on things like oil and gas, which can be a problem if those prices go crazy. Oh, and one more thing that's sparked debate is how Putin feels about LGBTQ plus rights. Russia has these laws against what they call gay propaganda and other rules that human rights groups say are really unfair to the LGBTQ plus community in Russia. So, yeah, when you look at all the decisions Putin's made, it's a mixed bag. Some things he's done have definitely made him popular, but then there are these other things that have caused a lot of controversy, both within Russia and internationally. And these choices, they haven't just changed things within Russia, they've also affected how the rest of the world sees Russia too. Next time, we're going to keep unpacking the whole Vladimir Putin story. It's complicated, but it's important to understand. So stay tuned for more on the man behind the headlines. Hey everyone, welcome back. So, we've talked about some of the tough calls Putin's made. Now let's think about what's next for him. What's Russia's leader planning? Remember those changes to the constitution back in 2020? Those changes mean Putin could stay in charge until 2036. That's a long time, so people are wondering what he wants to do. Will he just try to stay powerful, or does he have some surprises up his sleeve? One thing's for sure, Putin's really into technology. He wants Russia to be a big deal in things like artificial intelligence, computers that can think for themselves, and cybersecurity, which is like protecting computers and stuff. He's not just trying to catch up with other countries. He wants Russia to be the best. He even said that whoever's the best at AI will basically run the world. So yeah, technology is a big part of his plan. Then there's energy. Russia makes most of its money from oil and gas, but Putin's also looking at other options like renewable energy, like solar and wind power, and even nuclear power. He wants Russia to be a major player in all kinds of energy. As for how Russia deals with other countries, don't expect Putin to back down. He wants Russia to be powerful and respected, especially in places like the Middle East and Eastern Europe. That means he'll have to figure out how to deal with countries like the United States, China, and the European Union. Now, about things happening inside Russia, like social issues, some people don't agree with Putin's views on LGBTQ+ rights or some of his other policies, but he's sticking to his guns and wants to promote traditional Russian values. Finally, let's talk about how Putin will be remembered. Will he be the guy who made Russia strong again, or will he be known for the tough decisions he made, some good, some not so good? So there you have it. Putin's future is full of big plans and some question marks too. Whatever he does will affect not just Russia, but the whole world. Make sure you stick around as we keep learning more about this fascinating leader. Hey everyone, and welcome back. We've been talking a lot about Putin's plans for the future, but today let's switch gears a bit and talk about something else people are always curious about: how he stays so fit. Being in charge of a country is a super stressful job, but Putin somehow manages to squeeze in a serious workout routine. We hear he starts his day by hitting the gym. Think weights, swimming, and even judo. He's a black belt. This shows us he's not just strong physically, but mentally tough too. It takes a lot of discipline to stick to a routine like that. But it's not all gym time for Putin. He also loves the outdoors. Horseback riding, hiking, even fishing. He does it all. It's a good way to escape the stress of being president and enjoy Russia's beautiful scenery. He often shows off these trips, which is a cool way to promote Russia's natural beauty. And of course, you can't be fit without eating right. Putin's diet is all about healthy stuff: fruits, veggies, and lean protein. His chefs make sure he gets all the nutrients he needs to keep up with his busy schedule. Again, it shows how disciplined he is. Now, being fit isn't just about looking good. Exercise helps you think clearly, deal with stress, and just feel better overall. These are all super important qualities for a leader like Putin. So to wrap things up, Putin's fitness routine is a big part of who he is. It shows his dedication, discipline, and toughness qualities that have helped him stay in power for so long. It'll be interesting to see how this continues to play a role in his leadership. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos about Putin. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. See you next time. Hey everyone, and welcome back. Remember how we talked about Putin, like his job? How he stays in shape and all the stuff he's into? Well, today we're going to peek behind the curtain, and check out his family and what he's like when the cameras are off. So, Putin was married to this woman, Lyudmila, for a super long time, 30 years, from 1983 to 2013. They have 2 daughters, Maria and Katerina, but they're pretty private. They don't really show up in public much. They're just doing their own thing, like studying and working. Putin's really protective of his family, He doesn't talk about them a lot. And even though he's like one of the most famous people in the world, he keeps his private life pretty private. It's kind of surprising, right? Besides being super into sports, Putin also likes to read. He's a big history nerd, especially when it comes to Russian history. He even talks about it in his speeches sometimes. And get this, he loves dogs. He's had a bunch of them, including this famous black Labrador named Coney. He's always petting dogs and stuff, which, makes him seem a bit more normal. Even though we don't know everything about Putin's private life, these little things help us understand him a bit better. He's got a family, he likes to learn, and he loves animals. It shows he's more than just a politician, So that's all for today's look at Putin's personal life. Stick around because we've got more cool stuff coming up about him. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and ding that notification bell so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey everyone, welcome back. We've been talking a lot about Vladimir Putin, from his time in politics to the things he likes to do. But today, let's think about something really important. How will people remember Putin? What will he be known for after he's gone? Putin has definitely been one of the most important people in Russia's recent history. He's been president and prime minister, and during that time, Russia has changed a lot. The Russian economy has had good times and bad times while he's been in charge, and his decisions have caused a lot of discussion all over the world. Putin has a really strong way of dealing with other countries, and that's changed things on the world stage. Some people admire him for it, while others don't agree with him. What he did in Crimea and Syria and how he feels about Western countries have made him look like a powerful leader, even if he's not always popular. In Russia, people have different opinions about Putin. Some people see him as a hero who made Russia strong and important again. Others worry about how his government treats people's rights and people who disagree with him. The news in Russia has also changed a lot since he came to power, and the government has a big influence on what people see and hear. Outside of politics, Putin has tried to make Russian culture and history more well-known. He's also worked on protecting the environment and has this image as a tough and strong leader. Whether it's his judo skills, his love for classical music, or showing everyone how fit he is, he's created an image that many Russians really like. So, what will happen in the future? It's hard to say what people will remember most about Putin. Will he be seen as someone who brought stability during difficult times, or will he be remembered for being too tough and controlling? Only time will tell how history will judge Vladimir Putin. Thanks for coming along with me on this look at the life and legacy of Vladimir Putin. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Until next time, keep asking questions and keep learning.